create vaulted ceilings in Lightstanza, we can use the Roof Drawing tool. To start, switch to a 2D view and open the drawing panel. From here, start by creating a simple room with a flat ceiling before adding the vaulted ceiling in the next step. Be careful to draw it in at the correct dimension so that it matches the intended construction. We'll do 20 by 30 feet for this example. Next, switch back to a 3D view to delete the flat ceiling to create an opening to the room below. You can toggle between 2D and 3D using this button on the top viewer toolbar. Clicking once selects the entire room. And then if you click a second time, you can get just the ceiling surface. And then right click and select delete, or just use the delete key on your keyboard to remove the ceiling. Now return to a 2D view to draw in the roof. Start by sketching the basic roof footprint using the roof function under the shape drawing tools. This doesn't need to be exact, just a rough outline of the basic geometry. After creating the initial footprint, you should see some additional fields under shape details to set the dimensions precisely. If you need to reorient the apex of the roof so that it runs horizontally instead of vertically, you can do that here by simply swapping the height and width dimensions. And then after adjusting the dimensions, you can use the rotation handles to reorient it so that it is consistent with the room orientation. Notice there are also two angles that you can enter for each side of the room. For most construction, these will typically be the same. We'll use 45 degrees for this example. And finally, to set the ceiling height, just adjust the offset from level field so that it's the same as the height of the walls in the room, 10 feet in this case. And finally, click Create. After adding the roof, return back to a 3D view to remove the flat surface on the bottom. If we do zoom to fit, we should see our roof object from here. And then you can kind of use the right mouse button to rotate underneath. And like we did with the room, click once to get the roof, and then a second time to get just the flat surface on the bottom. Then right click and delete. Now to complete the room, return back to a 2D view so that we can move the roof into the correct position. Notice that the roof is no longer visible with our default view range, but we can make an adjustment by clicking the 3 horizontal dots underneath the 3D view cube, and then just adjust the view range so that it's above the ceiling. We use 11 feet in this case. Now with the roof visible, you can use the arrow keys or the mouse to move it into the correct position, just so that it's aligned with the walls. And we can review the final location by switching back to a 3D view. Now we can see it's placed on top of the room surface. To place luminaires that follow the profile of the sloped ceiling, you may find it helpful to work in a section view. To create a section view, it's actually best to start back in a plan view, so we can toggle that. And then click the section arrow right here to draw a cut plane. Just draw the line and be mindful of which way the camera is facing versus the cut direction. And then click once again to create the section view. So from here you can actually see the profile of the ceiling and get an idea of where to place light fixtures. Simply use the Add button. You can kind of get it at the default work plane height here just to place it. And then if you select a fixture and hold down the control key along with the up arrow on your keyboard, you can move it into the correct position so that it's aligned with the ceiling. You may need to adjust the snap options to get it placed precisely. Right now I have a 1 foot snapping enabled, but if we reduce that to say 1/4 of a foot, it should be possible to get much closer to the ceiling. Simple as that. You can repeat to place additional downlights throughout the remainder of the room.